give up, run into, figure out, move on. These are not grammar mistakes. These are not slang. These are phrasal verbs. And right now, today, in real kitchens and offices and phone calls happening all over the world, native English speakers are using them every single minute. The question is, are you ready to finally understand them the way they actually sound in real life? Good. Let's go. Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm Philza, and sitting across from me, as always, is my co-host, Daniel.
Hey, good to be here. I need coffee first, though. Is that okay? Can we hold on a second while I...
You know what? You say that literally every single episode. Every single one.
I know. But this week has been... Okay, I have to tell you about my Monday because it was a lot.
Oh no, what happened?
Okay, so my alarm goes off at 7. Normal, fine. But I'd completely set up this whole plan the night before. I was going to wake up, make breakfast, go for a quick walk, get to work early. I had it all figured out.
That sounds suspiciously ambitious for a Monday.
Right? That was my first mistake. So the alarm goes off, I turn it off, and then I just go back to sleep. Just like that. Like my brain just said, no, absolutely not, goodbye.
Oh, we've all done that.
And then I wake up at 8:45, which, for context, I start work at 9.
Okay.
So now I'm running around my flat like a complete disaster. I can't find my keys. My phone is charging in the kitchen. I throw on whatever clothes I can find.
Please tell me they matched.
They mostly matched. I had a dark blue sock and a black sock, Philza.
Daniel.
I know. But I couldn't go back and change at that point because I was already so late. So I just went with it.
Went with it. I love that. Just accepted the sock situation.
I fully committed to the sock situation. And then I ran into my neighbor in the hallway. Lovely woman, always wants to chat. And I couldn't get away. She brought up her daughter's new job and her cat who'd been sick. And I'm standing there smiling, one hand on the door, thinking, I am going to get fired.
Oh, that is so painful. That kind of situation where you're trapped but you can't be rude.
Exactly. And the thing is, I genuinely like her. So I felt awful. I finally said, I'm so sorry. I have to dash off. I'm running late.
See, that's perfect though. Dash off. It's polite, but it gets the message across.
It did the job, yeah. And then I made it to work at 9:18. Only 18 minutes late, which honestly felt like a victory at that point.
Honestly, that is a victory. That's a comeback story.
It really was. And my manager just looked at me and looked at my feet and said nothing.
He saw the socks.
He 100% saw the socks.
Okay, so that's actually a really good reminder of how often we use these little phrases without thinking, right? Like, you just used, 8 or 9 of them just telling that story?
Did I? I genuinely wasn't even counting.
That's the whole point, isn't it? You weren't thinking about them. They just came out naturally. And that's what I want our listeners to really take away from today. You don't memorize phrasal verbs the way you memorize a shopping list. You absorb them through real situations, real conversations.
Yeah, it's like you can't really sit down and study them in isolation and expect them to stick.
Exactly. They've got to live inside a story, inside a feeling. When I first came across phrasal verbs in English, I'm talking like really noticed them. I was watching a reality cooking show. Not a lesson, a cooking show.
Wait, seriously? Which one?
One of those competition ones. And the host said to one of the contestants, "Don't let the pressure get to you." And I remember just pausing because I knew all those words separately. Get, to, you. But together, in that moment, it hit differently.
That's such a good example because the emotion is right there in the phrase.
Right. And I just looked it up right after. And then I started hearing it everywhere. My flatmate said it. Someone on the bus said it. It was like once you pick it up, you can't unhear it.
That's the magic of it. Your brain latches on when there's a story attached.
So let's do that today. Let's just talk. And I want our listeners, wherever you are, whether you're on the bus, making tea, doing the dishes, just listen. Not to study, just to listen like you're sitting here with us at the table.
I like that. Just hang out with us in English for 20 minutes.
Exactly. So, tell me something else. What happened at lunch? You mentioned something before we started recording.
Oh, yes. Okay, so this actually connects. So after the whole Monday disaster, my coworker Sarah, she and I usually catch up over lunch, like maybe twice a week. She could tell something was off with me.
Could she tell just from looking at you?
She said I looked like I'd given up on the day, which was accurate, honestly.
Given up on the day. Sarah sounds like a character.
She really is. So she drags me out of the office. I was going to eat at my desk, very sad. And we go to this little cafe nearby, and she just starts talking. And I start to relax because, I don't know, sometimes you just need someone to take your mind off things, you know?
Absolutely. And that's a thing people don't always say directly. Like, nobody says, "Please provide distraction." They just show up.
Exactly. And she brought up this trip she's planning. She wants to set off in October, do 3 weeks across Southeast Asia.
Oh, wow, that sounds incredible. Where's she thinking?
Vietnam, Cambodia, maybe drop into Thailand at the end. She's been putting it off for years.
Oh, I know that feeling. That trip that lives in your head forever.
She said she almost called it off last year because of a work thing, and then she just thought, no, I'm going through with it this time.
Good for her. I love that. When you finally just commit to something you've been putting off.
And she was going on about this hostel she'd found. Apparently it's right on the water, super affordable. And I remember just thinking, I need to look into something like that for myself.
See, that's what a good lunch does. You go in stressed about socks, and you come out wanting to book a flight.
That's literally what happened. I looked up flights on my phone on the walk back to the office.
Okay, so morning, chaos, lunch, travel dreams. What about the rest of the day?
So the afternoon was actually okay. I had a project I'd been putting off, a report I was supposed to hand in 2 days before, and I finally just sat down and knocked it out.
Knocked it out. Yes, when you just push through and finish something.
It took me like an hour and a half once I actually got into it. I always forget that the hard part is starting. Once you get going, it just flows.
That's so true. I do the same thing with editing. I'll put off opening the file for hours, and then once I start, I'm like, why did I wait so long?
The resistance is always bigger than the thing itself.
Always, always. Did anything else happen?
Oh, yes. I almost forgot. My mom called.
Oh, how is she?
She's great. She's wonderful. But she called at 4:30, which is like, I'm still technically working. And she doesn't really think about that, which is fine. I'm not complaining, but...
But you can't exactly pick up and then cut her off after 2 minutes.
You cannot cut my mom off. That is not a thing that is possible. I picked up and we were on for 40 minutes.
40 minutes?
She wanted to catch me up on everything. My cousin's new house,
the neighbors who are apparently getting rid of their dog, which is a whole drama I won't get into. And then she wanted to know when I was coming home for a visit.
And what did you say?
I said I'd been thinking about coming in November, and she immediately started planning meals. Like, I hadn't even committed to a date, and she's already coming up with a whole menu.
That is the most universal mum energy in the world. It doesn't matter what country you're from.
It really doesn't, does it? My mom and your mom have probably never met, and they are the same person.
100%. My mum does the same thing. I'll say, maybe I'll come over for Eid, and she's already writing down what she needs to pick up from the shops.
It's love. It's just expressed in advance food preparation.
Exactly. That's what love looks like. And you know, actually, talking about family, that conversation your mum pulled you into, that's the thing about English in real life. It's not tidy. It doesn't follow a script. People talk over each other. They go off on tangents. They come back to the main point 20 minutes later.
And phrasal verbs are right at the heart of all of it. They're in every tangent.
They're what makes English sound alive. You know what I mean? When someone's speaking very formally, very textbook, it's not wrong, but it sounds a little stiff.
Like it's been ironed too much.
Yes, like over-ironed English. But phrasal verbs are the wrinkles, the natural ones, the ones that make it feel real.
So, evening. What do you want to know about the evening?
Tell me about the evening. Did you actually relax or did you spiral into more chaos?
I successfully wound down, I'm proud to say. I got home, I tidied up a bit, which I never do, so that was growth. Made some pasta, put on a show I'd been meaning to watch for ages.
Which show?
It's this documentary series about people who just pack up everything and move to a different country. Just completely start over somewhere new.
Oh, I've heard about that kind of thing. Is it inspiring or terrifying?
Both. Deeply both. There was this one episode about a family who sold their house and moved out to rural Portugal, and they'd never even been there before. They just saw a photo online and went, yeah, let's go for it.
That's... okay, I respect the commitment. I would have a panic attack.
I would too, but watching them do it was somehow very calming, and they ran into so many problems. The language, the paperwork, the house needing work, and they just kept figuring it out.
That's actually really beautiful. Figuring it out. Just taking it one thing at a time.
And at the end of the episode, the dad said something like, "We didn't give up even when we wanted to. We just kept showing up."
Okay, that's genuinely moving. I might need to watch this.
I'll send over the name after. It's worth it. But yeah, that's how I ended up falling asleep on the sofa, which, for a Monday that started with mismatched socks, is actually a really solid ending.
That is a redemption arc if I ever heard one. Can I say something to our listeners for a second?
Of course.
I want to talk directly to you for a moment. Whoever you are, wherever you're listening from. Because I know a lot of you are working really hard at English. You're listening on your commute, during your lunch break, maybe late at night after a long day. And I just want to say, what you're doing right now, this is real practice. This is not a drill.
And here's the thing. You probably picked up on most of those phrases naturally just by following the conversation, right? You weren't sitting there with a dictionary. You just went along with it.
And that's exactly how it works in real life. You tune in, you listen, you absorb. And over time, without even realizing, you start using these phrases yourself, in your head first, then out loud.
And the first time one comes out naturally, that feeling is amazing.
It really is. I remember the first time I said, I'll look into it in a real conversation without thinking. It came out. And the person I was talking to didn't even react because it was so natural. That was the best moment.
Because that's the goal, isn't it? Not to sound impressive, just to sound yourself.
Yourself in English, which is a whole journey, but it's worth every step.
Actually, before we wrap up, can I share something small that happened on the way home? It kind of stayed with me.
Yeah, go on.
So I was on the tube, the underground, the metro, whatever you call it where you're from, and there were these two teenagers sitting across from me, maybe 16, 17 years old, just talking, really fast, really natural. And I started listening, not in a weird way, just passively. And in about 4 minutes of conversation, I counted, without even trying, 11 phrasal verbs. 11.
From two teenagers just chatting?
Just chatting about a football match. He showed up late. The coach called off training. They need to sort out their defense. I can't get over that last goal. All of it just flowing out of them.
That's what people don't realize. It's not something you switch on deliberately when you want to sound fluent. It's just how English breathes. It's inside every normal conversation.
Exactly. And I thought, if someone learning English had been sitting there, would they have caught all of that? Probably not every single one. But if they'd been listening to real conversations, podcasts like this, shows, friends talking, maybe more than they'd expect.
That's exactly why we do this. Not to teach English like a textbook, but to give you ears, to train your brain to tune in to real conversation so that when you're in that moment, on the tube, in a cafe, in a job interview, you don't freeze up. You just listen and understand and respond.
And then one day, it just comes out naturally, without thinking. And that's the moment.
That is the whole point. That is the whole journey.
So, to wrap things up today, what would you say is the one thing you want people to take away from this episode?
I think don't give up on the small words. Don't skip over the two-word phrases because they seem simple. They're actually the hardest and the most important part of sounding natural in English. Lean into them. Notice them when you hear them. Try them out in your own sentences.
And come back, honestly. The more episodes you listen to, the more things just click into place. It's cumulative.
Totally. So, if this helped you even a little today, share it with someone who's also learning. You never know whose day you might turn around with one podcast recommendation.
And if you ever want to reach out to us, we genuinely love to hear from you. Tell us a story in English. Doesn't matter if it's simple, just go for it.
We mean it. We read every message. All right, that's it from us today. Thank you so much for listening. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep practicing.
And maybe lay out your outfit the night before. Just trust me on that one.
Daniel's Monday sends its regards. We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.
Bye.